All right, now I'm going to move on to what I'm supposed to talk to you about. Okay, next slide. Okay, enough about you. Let's talk about me. These are my parents. My father originally from Basra, Iraq. Born and raised there, and did well enough at Baghdad University College of Sciences to earn a government scholarship to do his studies overseas. He came to the United States, actually, to the DC area, and where he met another graduate student, a nice Jewish girl from New York. And so, yeah, funny. Basically the take-home message here, and while the groups of Arabs and Jews are not mutually exclusive, there are Arab Jews. My mother's Ashkenazi Jew, and with an Arab father and Jewish mother, I am 100% Semite. So this being the this being the topic on racism, you can insult either side of my family, and that would be anti-Semitic. But there's no Q&A here, so let's move on. Next slide, please. Now, my parents were married in '68, had my sister in '69, and then their lives dramatically improved when I came along. Now, I know there's a lot of controversy over what's happening here this weekend, but I think even those individuals who are protesting the truth outside can agree that I was a very cute baby right here. Now, the reason, thank you. The reason I'm showing this slide is not just for the gratuitous applause, but I appreciate that. For any of us, the memories we have of our childhood from the time before our brains could make memories are from the pictures. And when I was little, in order for my dad to pay back that government scholarship he was on, he taught at Basra University for 5 years. So the first 5 years of my life were between Iraq and New York. So this is me at 6 months old. I don't remember this picture being taken, but when you talk to me about Iraq, this is the image I think of. But unfortunately, thanks to very effective dehumanization in the American media, next slide, this is what people think of. Swarthy, dark, mustached, evil man, dictator worse than Hitler. Now, I'm not going to defend the regime. There's no question about the ruthlessness of the dictatorship, but we have to remember that pick any country around the world and it's made up of families, and it's those families who pay the price for what happens. Next. Oh, there's a quick blurb for me. Okay, next. So just defining it, racism is the belief that race accounts for differences in human character or ability, and that a particular race is superior to others, or it's discrimination or prejudice based on race, denial of the other's humanity. We do not respect them as human beings. And any one of us can define an other. Now, I can't be sure if that's what was happening yesterday, but I thought it was very interesting in the discussion yesterday of Blackwater. It was a distinction that I think we in this room could make, that we are not Blackwater. And I was happy to applaud that they were being brought to justice for the crimes of September 17th, 2007. We have to remember, it doesn't make much difference to the Iraqi people who's firing the weapons that kill their families. But anyway, I just want to point that out for, defining the other. Next. So we already talked about dehumanization of the enemy, the names used in Vietnam for the Vietnamese people. I know the number 58,000, but it wasn't until recently that I knew that over 3 million Vietnamese were killed during that time. And the same goes for Iraq. We've already heard the names used. It's now over 1.2 million and counting as we speak. It's also important to point out that we condemn Saddam Hussein, and rightly so, for allegedly killing 300,000 over 30 years. We have now more than quadrupled the number in under 5. Now, we're all about winning in this country, but this was not a contest we wanted to win. Basically, for that other, lives are disposable. Next. Just very briefly, I will touch on, and I'm not really the expert on it, I just want to touch on racism within the military. For example, Mexican families who want to come here to, build a better life for themselves. If they are caught at the border without papers, they're going to be detained or maybe beaten. They're going to be sent back home. However, if you choose to enlist in the U.S. military to be deployed overseas for corporate profit, They will accelerate your citizenship application. Give us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, and we will put them in the military and send them overseas to die for Halliburton. Next slide. Now, in this slide, this is citizenship. Welcome to America at Al-Faw Palace, Baghdad. Now, if you look at this picture, the guy in the middle is the general, and all the brown people are the new citizens. You notice that the immigrants who get accelerated, it indicates that it's not Irish immigrants who need accelerated citizenship. Not Europeans, mostly from minority areas. Next. Disposable Iraqis, again, disposable, designed to be used once and then thrown away. General Tommy Franks in 2003. We don't do body counts. I mean, they don't even count the number for the Pentagon doesn't even count the number of American dead accurately. We shouldn't expect, if they're not going to do that, we're not going to expect any better for Iraqis. Colin Powell. Colin Powell was mentioned yesterday, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff during the first Gulf War. Colin Powell said, civilian Iraqi casualties, it's really not a number I'm terribly interested in. Now, he was referred to as being respected. Colin Powell is a liar. He was a tool that was used at the time that we were getting ready to invade Iraq. The Guernica that Dr. Abiy referred to, the Guernica picture at the UN had to be covered. The whole point was to put it there to avoid war, but they covered it up at the backdrop. And Colin Powell got his start. He had a desk job during the Vietnam War. It was his job to do cover-ups of massacres like My Lai and so no love from Dahlia for Colin Powell. Next one. We have to stay and help. There is an element of white man's burden in this. How are these people going to wander through the desert without us? And this is, I'm telling you, this is not, I'm not going to blame the right for this. This is mostly, I will hear this in the progressive community. I know we have to leave, but I'm just afraid of what will happen when we go. Next slide. Okay, we have less than 300 years of history. And I don't even know how much of that you can count as democracy, okay? If you've seen our last few elections. They have more than 7,000 years of civilization. Who needs whose help? What if Iraqis spoke Oxford English, which some of them do? Doesn't matter. What if Iraqis were a 94% Christian country instead of 94% Muslim? What if Iraqis were white? There was a comment made yesterday, and I'm so happy I had the chance to speak to the veteran before this session. And what I took from the statement was that Iraqis have a different culture with different morals. And what I walked away from that with was that somehow that we had better morals in this country than they do. But for myself and for him, I wanted to clarify that even the brainwashing that you go through in the military can kick in a moment of stress, which, believe me, this is a moment of stress. That's kind of the attitude that was presented, but we had a really good conversation. So just to clarify that it is a different way of doing things, and the point was we have no right to impose ourselves onto anybody else. Next slide.